Mary Siri Kearney. Senator Siri Kearney, you're next.
Thank you, Minister Abbott. Thank you very much for coming in and taking the time to take this in person. I am working with a family at the moment who are incredibly caring and incredibly supportive of their 29-year-old son and brother, who has been, he is a ward of court, but has been in the care of the state for some years since he left school. He was undergoing treatment under the auspices of the HSE in Dublin, and that was more or less, it was at times satisfactory, and then not meeting his needs. A decision was taken 18 months ago to transfer him to St Andrews in the UK. And that decision was taken by the HSE, and he is in care there. They have advanced a diagnosis. He was originally, the first diagnosis of him was Asperger's, then it went on to autism. Now the current diagnosis of him since encountering St Andrews is that he has autism and an intellectual disability. So that's only recent, in the last year, that diagnosis has been made. The difficulty is that no one is liaising with this family and giving them feedback. There appears to be no care plan. There appears to be, if there are, they go over on a regular basis and they visit him. They say the experience is like a prison in all of the stages that they've got to get through before they actually get to visit their son and brother. And there's no, he's very interested in sports. There's no access to sport, to watch sport on TV. The progression markers are exceptionally low, but when they ask questions, neither the HSE nor St Andrews are responding to this family. The view is he's in the process of coming out of ward of court and into the assisted decision making, and the decision services. That even has been a very complicated process. So here we have a 29-year-old man who believes that he was told by the HSE that he was going to the UK for 2 years. That 2-year deadline is coming up, and he is obsessed that he is coming home at that. But nobody knows anything about it. He's not in a position to engage with the progress of his care and to know what exactly is happening here, and he's not getting any feedback. So there is no point of contact. There's no idea of the setup. From a mental health perspective, in their view, he has deteriorated in that time. And I suppose what struck me is this is the first I heard that we're sending people to the UK on a long-term basis. I mean, I know the treatment purchase scheme is fantastic, but I wasn't aware that we were doing it to this extent. And my place to go to, okay, there's the ward of court piece, and I'll hustle them on his behalf. But for this, how is there no oversight? How is there no feedback, no care plan? And because he's 29, there's a decision that the family don't merit any information back. And that seems a most extraordinary situation. Because especially now, as his diagnosis has progressed to a further diagnosis, and perhaps that's to be applauded, because maybe there has been something undiagnosed over his life to date, so maybe that is actually an indication of progress. But the fact is that if his family are going in and out visiting him, taking the time and the expense of going to the UK to go and visit him on a very regular basis, but nobody feels any obligation to tell them anything about their son. So I'm wondering about the structures within the HSE for that sort of oversight. It seems a most extraordinary situation. Thank you.
Very much, Senator Siri Kearney. Minister.
Thank you very much, Chair. And thank you, Senator Kearney, for raising it and being so open and telling me the diagnosis, because regrettably, and I coming in here today, I didn't know the diagnosis and I didn't know what treatment was being dealt with here. So I do thank you for raising this issue today. And I also, if the family are looking in or going to watch the recording later on, I want to acknowledge their involvement in their son or their brother's care. And I do have to apologise for the lack of engagement, communication and consultation with the family. And it is something I will take more details off you when we finish the commencement. Actually, if there is a timeline, as there has been put on it, and this young man is looking to return home, as is his will and preference, and that's what the Decision Support Services is all about, is also about the will and preference of the individual. And that is the whole role of the DSS. So I will work with you on that as well. But timelines are important. But to get to the crux of it, so while the HSE endeavours to provide services as close to home as possible, this can be challenging in relation to residential placements. Demographic challenges associated with the increase in the number of people living with a disability, the increase in age and life expectancy, and the changing needs of people with a disability have all led to the need for increased residential facilities. Residential services make up the largest part of the specialist community-based disability service funding. As of March 2024, the HSE is funding a total of 8,472 residential placements. And I will get also for you, Senator, how many are in this jurisdiction, how many are Northern Ireland, and how many are in the UK as well. And the HSE funds and works in partnership with organisations including 38s and 39s and out-of-state agencies to ensure the best level of service possible is provided to people with a disability and their families within the available resources. And regardless of the type of organisation or its location, there are mechanisms, safeguards and procedures in place to provide assurances to the HSE and to support accountability process for public expenditure on health and personal social services. And as part of the HSE wider requirement to ensure appropriate governance arrangements that underpin the release of the funding of agencies, a governance framework for funded agencies has been developed which ensures a consistent approach in this regard. The framework was introduced to implement the legislative provisions of the Health Act 2004 and to reflect the requirements for public accountability, where the HSE is legally obliged to account for all public expenditure on health and personal social services. The framework seeks to provide a level of governance which links funding provided to a quantum of service and provides for these services to be linked to quality standards with continuous monitoring to ensure equity, efficiency, effective use of available resources. The Regulation and Quality Improvement Authority, or QIA, is the independent body responsible for monitoring and inspecting the availability and quality of health and social care services in Northern Ireland and encouraging improvements in the quality of those services. Through its inspections, reviews and audits, the RQIA provides assurances about the quality of care, challenges poor practice, promotes improvements and safeguards the rights of service users. In the UK, the Care Quality Commission regulates all health and social care services in England. And the Commission ensures the quality and safety of care in hospitals, dentists, ambulance and care homes and care given to people in their own home. So, to be honest with you, I hear an awful lot about the framework, but I don't hear where the engagement takes place between the various bodies and the families. That is the crux of your question. That's what we will have to seek the answers on, and where the level of engagement, communication and consultation is taking place. To be quite honest with you, while we have the frameworks, in practice, I don't feel nor hear it within my response.
Thank you very much, Minister. Just before I bring Senator Mary Siri Kearney back in, I'd like to welcome 6th class in Ballinalea National School in County Longford. He had a great win last night in the minors, and huge congratulations. And I particularly want to welcome Brandon Carrigy, who is the son of our colleague and friend and Senator Micheál Carrigy, who is in 6th class. So I hope you have a wonderful trip to Leinster House. I hope you find it informative. And now you're going to hear Senator Siri Kearney asking a supplementary to the Minister for Disabilities. Senator Siri Kearney.
Thank you very much, and you're very welcome, and congratulations. Senator Carrigy is a great colleague. And hello, Fintan. Minister, I suppose thank you very much. I know that when you make a commitment in this, you always rise to the challenge of what is presented before you. You began by talking about the will and preference of this man, and I completely agree with that. You know, be completely at heart. However, a family need to be prepared here. You know, the fact is, he doesn't have a home to go to unless he's at home with his mother and father and brothers, you know, so a family need to be supported. If the determination of the HSE in sending him to St Andrews is that he needs to be kept in an extreme ward, that he needs to be, you know, that it seems to be a very secure ward, are the words that were used to me, then his preference is to be actually at home in his own house with his family, you know, and that may not be possible. So hence, they need to engage with the family. I understand assisted decision-making was 100% supportive of it, but there can't be this complete exclusion of a family. I mean, it defies any logic and any progress for the individual. Surely the two could be done in tandem to try and rise to what is the objective and outcome that this individual would want, but also how a family can be prepared to support it. There are bank accounts frozen. There are a whole heap of things. His mother saved money every week from her wages for all of his life. She can't access that bank account to buy him a TV. She can't. There is a whole heap of things that are going on here that are seen to be peculiar. Now, I think that's peculiar to the Ward of Court, and I'm sorry, Cathaoirleach, I know.
Not at all. It's an extremely important issue. Thank you very much,
But
Senator.
there are peculiarities here that are really, as I say, lacking in any accountability, and I accept that you acknowledge that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Senator Minister.
Thank you, Senator, and I totally take on board everything you're after raising there, and I would welcome working with you and working and assisting the family on this particular case, because it is extreme. It's extreme at any time when a person has to access residential care. It's 10 times more extreme when they have to leave your jurisdiction to access it. At all the time, it would be and it is our government's prerogative to ensure that actually we provide residential care as close to home as possible. So as you continue with those relationships, they are our priority. And while I understand the extremities of it, it's important that that young man is supported as close to home as possible. And that consultation, communication needs to happen. And why wouldn't a mum want to buy her son a TV? Why wouldn't a mum want to be able to have regular access to her son, and why wouldn't the mum want to see the son participate in sport? That's what we want for all our children, so I look forward to working with you on it.
Thank you very much, Minister. And just